we've been talking about free speech, and this war on free speech, it keeps amping up every time you think, or not. I mean, obviously, your audience, our audience, but the people that are looking at the incremental pushing of that line, moving it forward about what's acceptable as far as we're protecting the safety of Americans. We're protecting them from who? Oh, if they're not American citizens and they're visas or green card holders, well, we can get rid of them because they have a higher standard, or they're not allowed to be protesting and stuff. So we're gonna arrest them. But don't worry, we won't come for U.S. citizens. Well, no, that is happening. The arrests are happening right now. This actually happened in Cincinnati at the UC Cincinnati here.
I am not safe. This is not a safe campus. You guys are police. You're supposed to be protecting us. You're supposed to be protecting us. This is what they want. You're supporting them. You're supporting them. Stop resisting. Bro, stop resisting.
So they end up arresting this student. He's a U.S. citizen. You can't stick this on the green card excuse or the visa excuse, whatever excuse. He had a Palestinian flag. He's been arrested now. This is going so far. Now, of course, the students at University of Cincinnati, they did not take this lying down. This is them protesting this. I think this arrest happened yesterday. This is today at University of Cincinnati. They got back in the streets, and good for them. Good for the students. And you can see that they haven't taken this lying down, and good for them. Good for them. This is the model we're modeling after. You're seeing how the students around the nation are modeling after the protests from the 80s, the protests against South Africa apartheid, and it's about divesting. That's what it's about. It's not about like we want to bring harm to Jewish people. It's insane if anyone actually believes that. But it's really, really bad, Patrick. And before you chime in, because I want your thoughts on this. Is happening right now. This is also happening at the same time. You have this AIPAC guy. His name's Randy Fine, and he's calling for 5 years prison sentences for distributing what he's calling anti-Israel flyers, or he's not calling, but we're saying anything that's against Israel is considered hate speech. Therefore, it's violence, it's criminal, and you need to be arrested and put in jail for 5 years. This is insane. This guy is literally saying this. Here it is.
Holding people accountable without violating their free speech.
Sure. And again, I would remind you that there's no First Amendment right to conduct. There's a First Amendment right to speech, and the things that we're targeting in the bill are not speech. Again, if someone wants to stand across the street from my house and wave a sign on the sidewalk, they have every right to do that, and this bill won't have anything to do with that. But when it veers into conduct, and so the way we're going to approach this is through a hate crime kicker. So if you graffiti a building, it is a crime now. But if your motivation is hate, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in prison. If you want to litter, it's a crime right now. But if you litter and your motivation is a hate crime, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in jail. It is a crime right now to hang banners from an interstate. For obvious reasons, we don't want to distract drivers. But if you do that and you have a hate crime, a hate motivation, it will be a third-degree felony. You will spend 5 years in jail.
How optimistic are you of moving this bill along?
I guarantee the bill will pass. And I never do that.
I guarantee the bill will pass, and I never do that. Ha, ha, ha from the room. Wow. Patrick, this is what we're talking about, going to the next stage and the next stage and the next stage. Is this a moment in time where the MAGA crowd gets in the streets with these students and says, no, you're coming for us next? Is that going to happen? Is there a breaking point here?
No, because the whole MAGA crowd was basically demanding that everyone go out and vote for Randy Fine all over social media. Randy Fine was tweeting out things like, kill them all, and, pictures of dead Palestinian babies under the rubble. And he's making wisecracks underneath. I mean, this is somebody with a very low level of humanity and morals. And so, but he should recuse himself. I mean, from the conversation himself, because he's probably got a conflict of interest with his own political identity, being either Israeli American or Jewish American or whatever. But clearly, he's a hardcore Zionist, and he's willing to suspend the First Amendment to shut down any criticism of foreign government. And hate speech. There's no definition for this. Yeah. It's totally arbitrary. It's totally elastic. You could even press the ADL. You could get them in a corner in the Southern Poverty Law Center and ask them to give you a definition. And I've tried this with one of those organizations. Give me a definition of hate speech, and there is no definition. There's no such thing as hate speech. I was even told one time by one of their directors. So, anti-Semitism. What is this? Again, an elastic word that just keeps getting things added to it over time, and it can be applied very arbitrarily and selectively. And terrorism as well. Terrorism. Let's just remind everybody: the U.S. recognized the ANC and Nelson Mandela as a terrorist. And all of a sudden, a year later, he's a freedom fighter and the global, mascot for freedom. Yeah. Nelson Mandela. Why? Because it's a political designation. It's a political designation. The Palestinian groups who are waging an armed struggle of independence or resistance against an illegal occupation, as recognized by the United Nations, actually will have standing in international court, with international law behind them. But the United States and its allies, on the orders of Israel, have all of those groups labeled, almost all of them, not all, there's one or two that are not, labeled as a terrorist organization. So because they're a terrorist organization, you then suspend, you withdraw and suspend any rights that they might have, and the rights of anybody standing in their vicinity, as we now know, which is now collateral damage. And then they'll say, oh, it's okay, Hamas was using the civilian population as human shields. So, we're sorry we killed 50,000 of them. The same in South Lebanon. The Hezbollah is a South Lebanese militia, paramilitary organization that existed to fight the Israeli occupation of South Lebanon. And because the Americans won't allow the Lebanese army to have any anti-aircraft, any planes, nothing. The U.S. prohibit the Lebanese army from having anything to defend themselves with in terms of their airspace, in terms of their border, and in terms of heavy equipment and things like that. So Hezbollah basically said, well, we're going to have to do the job ourselves. So and then we're blaming Hezbollah, calling them a terrorist organization. They're not an expeditionary terrorist organization. They're not. And so, but according to the U.S. government and the European countries, and again, at the orders of Israel, they're labeled as such. Therefore, all those civilians who are slaughtered in Lebanon, that's all okay, because there's just unfortunate collateral damage in the war on terror, just like all the civilians in Mosul that were unfortunately got in the way because we were trying to bomb ISIS, and in Raqqa, oops, we're sorry about that. There's 10,000 there, another 20,000 in Mosul. Oh, we're sorry about that. Even though we didn't do any of the ground fighting against ISIS in Iraq, the Iraqis did. And yet our leaders take victory laps that they won the war against ISIS. They totally did not. Okay. I can tell you that 100%. So all these arbitrary labels that are given and then hate speech, anti-Semitism, and all this, we are swimming in an absolute pool of lies, deception, and deceit that is being weaponized in 10 different directions, and it's now catching up to us. Yeah. Because now the only thing left to eat at this point are our rights, and that's why they're coming after the First Amendment aggressively. Nobody's pushing back against it, not in any meaningful way. And so God bless these students, yeah, who are putting up a good fight and doing the right thing. And it's so funny that the conservatives will say that they're un-American for what they're doing. No, they're totally American. They're upholding a great tradition in America of protesting injustice and illegal wars. Hello.
Yeah.
So you might not like it, it might go against your war agenda, but this is why people love America and why people will want to come to America, because it has free speech, and only for that reason in many cases.
Yeah.
And also, if you lose free speech, you lose all the other rights will slowly be withdrawn as well. And it's no longer going to be a very good place to do business, quite frankly.
No.
Unless you're at the oligarchy level. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you can afford $5 million for a golden visa. Okay. I one pundit, I can't remember who it was, I was watching recently. He said this golden visa program, you know about this, Matt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He said,
so let's tell us, in case our audience doesn't
he said,
know.
Trump said, I'm going to give a gold visa. I'm going to give a gold visa. We have $5 million. You can come. We want good business people, smart people to come to America. They pay their $5 million and they get entrance into the greatest nightclub of all time, the United States of America. So I heard one pundit recently say, if the Republicans or the conservatives really believe in the free market, really, then Americans should be allowed to put their citizenship up for sale and swap citizenship or leave the United States and relinquish their citizenship for $5 million. Now, I know a lot of people who would do that, actually.
That's
probably a lot of people. So, I mean, and they might go to Africa, or they might go to, Gambia or Nicaragua and set up an empire. And because, quite frankly, you can't even afford healthcare in America at the moment. So, I mean, I thought that was a brilliant idea, but that's not to get off on too much of a tangent. But
no, that's a great comeback to that one, because you're putting a value on this thing. Okay, so we can go the other direction too. And you want to talk about getting healthcare? Hey, just go over to Israel and you can grab some U.S. taxpayer funded healthcare. It's right over there. We don't get it here, but you can go to Israel and get it. That's another one we think it's hilarious. It's hilarious that we are like that. The way the system's constructed, like whoever was putting this together, like, hey, we're gonna pay for everything in Israel. Like, don't worry, they won't notice. And it's like, wait, are you sure? Are they not going to see? Nah, they're not going to pay attention, because we got the best media pundits. We got the best politicians. They're just going to deflect anytime someone brings it up. We got the education system. We'll never mention it. We'll never mention it anywhere. They won't notice. Well, now we got the stuff coming up on our cell phones. I think that's the thing. That's the turning point, maybe. And that's why we're getting more crackdown than ever on free speech, because we have access to information we never did before. It was so much easier, right, for Israel to sell the garbage. When they controlled the media was very controllable when it was just the three networks, right? You just had those ones, and then so you knew, like, we didn't have any other way to, like, well, what about this angle? What about that? It was CNN, and you had your ABC and Fox, and you had your NBC and whatever, CBS, but you didn't have this ability to go, wait, what's really going on over there? What's really going on in Gaza? What's really going on across the world? So now we know this stuff, but they're cracking down. It's insane. Patrick, the one I had an idea myself on this, when they tell us that it's anti-Semitic to protest a government, right? So that doesn't really make sense, right? Because if we protest American government, are we being racist against Americans? Well, no, because America is diverse. It's filled with it's got all sorts of people. We're very open, it's a diverse place. So why would protesting against American government be racist? Well, because it can't be. That's the idea. It's not. So why would a government that you guys champion as a democracy, you champion it as an inclusive place, why would it be exclusively racist to one type of people? Unless you're admitting, just by accusing us of that, you're admitting it's an ethno state. That's what you're doing that in your accusation. So now we've established it's an ethno state. Now we come back and say, no, we're not protesting the people that live there. We're protesting the government and the military occupation. That's it. And that's simple. I can't get it any more simple than that. But again, they're going to keep pretending.
Well, that's common sense, Matt. I mean, that's common. I mean, you could even take another turn on that. And when they say that, Israel's got the most moral army in the world, or Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East
Right.
running an apartheid state. What they're really saying is believe what they're saying, believe it, because that means that the American establishment, they view that as morality. Carpet bombing civilian neighborhoods, killing Arabs, that is a moral thing to do. From the colonial mindset that a lot of the establishment have so ingrained in their colonial gene, or their war gene. I call it the war gene. It activates every now and again in some Americans, not all. And then when they say that Israel's the only democracy, when they're talking about democracy, the establishment, that's a democracy. In our book, that is a model democracy. You got the brown people down there, and you got white Europeans running the show, and accusing anybody that's trying to stop this as being a terrorist. I mean, this is the model democracy for these people. So what we think democracy means and what they think it means are two different things. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah. So when we're chanting, this is what democracy looks like, this is what democracy looks like. It's got a double meaning. Yeah.
There's an inside joke in that, funny enough. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but it's too bad. We need more protesters on the same side. I mean, this is the time. This is the time to bring everyone together. We don't care who you voted for. We don't care about even your ideology aside. This is humanity. This is what it is. We all know what protesting looks like. We all know it's part of our rights, our basic human rights here in this country, to have that right. Now more than ever, we need to come together. So we got to keep having these conversations. Patrick, I don't want to keep you too much longer, but just if you have anything else, if we skipped over, if you want to mention or tell us where we can find you.
That was I really enjoyed the discussion, Matt. Obviously, so much really important things going on right now, especially. But I just tell people if they want to come to 21stcenturywire.com, that is my website. I have a show on Sunday called The Sunday Wire, and we have a midweek wire now on Wednesday, and we are on a couple of other programs like the UK column on Friday, which I post on our website. But so at 21wire on Twitter, X Twitter, and that's it. So follow us, and we're putting out stuff every day. So analysis, news, shows, and just trying to keep up with stuff like yourself.
Yeah, no, I love what you put out there, Patrick. You're always on point. You're always ahead of it, of the military industrial complex nefarious behavior. You're right in front of it. So people, you guys check out Patrick. He's right in front of it, where we have to all be, and keep helping each other elevate and fight back against the war machine and the oligarchy. So thank you, Patrick, for being on the show with us today. I hope you can come back with us soon. We can continue these discussions.
Cheers. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, thanks.